So a place like this in Bali, Indonesia, will run you about 3,000 US dollars a month. And if you speak directly, with the owners, I'm sure you can even negotiate that a little bit lower, but just want to give context for the quality of places that are here based on, I don't know, like if you have certain amenities that you need, desire, require, whatever, you will find it. One thing about Bali, and let's start with a disclaimer because there are a lot of signs, there are a lot of graffiti that is saying like Bali is not for sale. Foreigners, stop coming in here, stop investing, stop taking the locals' land. So it's still a little bit controversial, but for the villas that are up and running, and there are plentiful, whether you have a budget of $10, 10 US dollars a night, or 1,000 US dollars a night, you will find something. You will find multiple things in your budget range. And I know Airbnb, is problematic for many people. I have to say I've been on that platform for 15 years. So cancel me if you wanna, but it's really been a lifesaver for someone like me who was, fully nomadic for many years and relied on reputable customer service and 24/7 access. And something that I think Airbnb has that booking.com and VRBO and just native booking sites haven't quite figured out is that just that reliability and that risk assurance. So if you ever get into a place that doesn't look like the photos, you can literally contact Airbnb and they will have a team looking for your replacement and immediately transferring you within the hour. I've had that happen maybe 2 times in the last decade, but the fact that each time was so immediate, no questions asked, like, you got there, it wasn't what you booked, or it was falsely advertised, or the photos are 5 years old, no problem. Like, you can go ahead and find something that you would like. If you're not able to find something, we're going to have a team working on it in the background just in case. But between the, I don't know, 7 of us, we're going to find you something. And like they would just send me a bunch of options. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. Like, let's do this one. And if you decide to, maybe you get a hotel and you don't even want to stay at an Airbnb, they'll refund you immediately. So I think for the consumer, there's more protection than for those who are renters, or sorry, those who are owners. Okay, so your quality of living and your cost of living. So the reason I wanted to start with Bali as one of the places that you can evacuate to as an American is number one, I'm here. It just feels top of mind. This is going to be slightly different than the list that I'm posting on Instagram, which is it's like a safe and solo series for Black women. And this is where I felt the most safe as a Black woman when I was traveling solo. So that series is going to be supplemental to the videos that I post here, but hopefully it's not confusing because they will be posted out of order. But just know there really is no order. So we're going to just start with a Bali guide. So when it comes to the visa, you have a 30-day free, no, 30-day visa on arrival, which is 35 US dollars. That to me is very manageable. If you don't want to wait in line and you want to skip the line, you can just Google um, Bali tourist visa American, and it should lead you to the government site. It'll take about 10 minutes. You do have to scan your passport or upload your passport, proof of, onward flight, and then like a picture of your face. So yeah, it'll take about 10 minutes. But if you do that, again, if you're American and you do that, once you deboard your plane and you get to the immigration center, go all the way far left. One thing about the Bali airport, in the last 10 years, it has expanded and it has gotten slightly more confusing. But there's all of these lines and booths and stations. And if you are a first-time visitor, you will be like, where do I go and what do I do? So now, if you do the visa online, you have the digital pass. So go straight, 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 all the way far left until you see a bunch of digital, what looks like slot machines. You get to pass right through. And if you do that correctly, you will be in and out from like plane door to like baggage claim in 5 minutes. well, depending on, how long the gate is to that area. So yeah, it can be very simple. Whereas in the past, you were waiting in line for up to 2 hours. Okay, so shout out to Bali. Shout out to the local government. They've done a great job of trying to manage the flow of tourists if you have like 20 planes landing in the same hour. Okay, so the arrival process, the visa process, very simple, very straightforward. You can just do the general um, tourist visa or social visa, what they call it. Now, if you are wanting to stay for up to 6 months, that is slightly different. And I want to make sure I get the name right. It's like B211A. Yeah, nice. Single entry visit visa. It can be, you can stay for 2 months and you can extend it twice for 60 days each. So basically, if you want to get to a point where you can stay for up to 6 months, um, you can do a B211 visa. To be honest, I would not opt for that path. If this is your first time to Bali or your second or fifth time to Bali, most people just do 30 to 60 days at a time. Either you come here on a 60-day visa and then you make a visa run to Cambodia, Japan, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong. I mean, there's so many places. Like it's worth it to actually just travel locally for a weekend or a week and then come back to Bali and reset your 30 to 60 days. So I wouldn't get too preoccupied with the B211A visa yet. But just know if you want to get to a point where you actually want to have a long-term stay visa in Bali, there is an application, there is a process. It is quite straightforward, and there's lots of agencies that can handle it for you. So, yeah, that would be something for down the line. What I do appreciate about Bali is just the access. Any quality of life that you are used to in the US, you will find greater, better, or easier here in Bali. I know the reputation for the type of tourist that Bali gets is becoming lower. There was a point where, and I'm not going to say who, but there was a certain country, they were having issues in their country. So a lot of people came from that country here, and the cultural clashes were just not clashing. They were clashing, they were not meshing. So understand to not be labeled as one of them and to be as good of a tourist as possible. Learn just 5 to 6 words of Bahasa Indonesia. Learn how to say the basics. So let's, I guess, go over them. Bali is a culture, or I would say Indonesia is a culture where you can say hi, but it's better to greet them based on the time of the day, which is, I love that about my Nigerian culture because you don't look at an elder and say, hi, hello. Hello, who? I'm just kidding. But you say good morning. Good morning, sir. I'm just kidding. But you say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. That is like the respectful hello. So you don't greet people unless they're younger than you, but you greet people your age mates or older with the time of the day. So good morning in Bahasa Indonesia is selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. Oh, selamat pagi. And then there's two for afternoon. There's one that's like noontime, and then there's one that's like afternoon. So after selamat pagi is selamat siang, selamat siang. And I'll do the spelling really quick. Salamat, I mean, you could spell that, but pagi is Pagi. Pagi. And then the next one, siang, Siang. Salamat siang. And then the next one is sore, Sore. And what I love about Bahasa Indonesian is you can kind of, if you speak Spanish, they roll their R's. So you can kind of get away with like, it's a very phonetic language, even though some of the spelling looks like it can be quite long, kind of like the German language, everything is phonetic. So salamat sore, that's like good afternoon. So we're looking at the 3 to 5 p.m. And then once it's sunset to evening, it's malam. Salamat malam, and that's Malam. And malam could mean good evening and good night. So just depends on the context. So salamat pagi, salamat siang, salamat sore, salamat malam. And that is, I mean, just if you can get that down as a tourist, I mean, just it's the ultimate nod to who you are as a person. Like it would make them feel like you're not just coming to take in Bali, you're also coming to give respect and honor to the people here. And if you want to, yeah, just have like another article to address a person, you can say Pak and Ibu. So Pak is like sir, Pak, but the K is silent. So Salamat Siang Pak. It's, good afternoon, sir. Like, how are you? Um, and then Ibu is like Miss, Mrs madam, it's, all of the above. So salamat malam, ibu. And you might notice that when I'm saying it to you, there's a little bit of a sing-songy rhythm in it because a lot of how I learn languages is very mimetic. I'm just mimicking how they're sounding and I'm observing the tonality and the intonation and the fluctuation and so it is a kind of a sing-songy type of language. And normally, what they'll say, if you say salamat pagi, oh, salamat pagi, the next thing they'll probably tell you is abakabar, 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 abakabar. Abakabar is how are you? Abakabar. Oh, bike, bike, Baik, bike, bike, which is very easy to remember. Bike. Oh, bike juga. Oh, I'm good also. Good also. This could be a 10-second exchange, but the joy, the warmth, the energy that you will feel in just meeting them halfway, not even halfway, meeting them at their home base so that they're not constantly translating their language and their culture to tourists who are often, the ones exploiting this island. So it's just a very nice thing that you can do, whether you're coming for 30 days or 3 years. You really want to come informed and come um, just doing just a little bit. And the last bonus word I'll give you is because similar to many other countries, like Nigeria, where I'm from, we have so many different dialects. And Indonesia itself is a country of like 17,000 islands, 6,000 are inhabited. And so they have different dialects based on the islands. And Bahasa Indonesia, of course, they can all understand, but there's also Bahasa Bali, so the Balinese language. And one word that is really nice to say in Balinese is thank you very much, which is matur suksema. Matur, matur, and then suksema, Suksma, matur suksema. And then they'll say back to you, oh, suksema mawali. And they'll always, accompany it with a little prayer hand. So super polite, super respectful exchange. And a lot of what you'll realize about many cultures that you travel to within Asia or just, I don't know, ethnic cultures is respect is embedded in their culture. And there's this natural reverence that you give to elderly people. So even like when you're saying sir, I gave you guys the abbreviated version, bop. But if you say bop bop, like oftentimes on my morning walk, I'll see someone who's very elderly, like 80, 90 and above. And they're just sitting on the street with a straw hat, or I don't know, they could be walking, they could be working the fields. I'm like, oh, salamat pagi, bapa. And bapa, like Bapak, bapa, is like ultra respectful. It's like sir, but to the highest degree. But then it also can be translated to mean father. So it's like I'm treating him as if I would treat my father, like good morning, father. Like I don't know. There's just a beautiful honor and reverence in that. And same with bu and ibu. Salamat pagi, bu. Salamat pagi, ibu. And it's just it's a reverence. Okay, so didn't expect to give language lessons. But as I mentioned in a previous video, I learned to speak Bahasa Indonesia online through a local tutor that I hired on a website called preply.com. I'll put my discount code in the video description. You can get 70% off your trial lesson. And just know that the lessons can be very affordable, anywhere from $10 an hour and up, depending on, the age or uh, education level of the person that's your tutor. But I just love to learn like colloquially. I don't actually need someone to have a degree in teaching the language. I just want to know like the basics and I want to know how to like keep up with street talk. So I learned formal and colloquial translations of certain things. So I'm just mindful of when to turn on the colloquialism and when to be formal. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. And another thing I want to mention about Bali and just the culture and the regions, you have, I think, two of the most popular areas will be Canggu, which is Canggu, not Kangoo, but Canggu. And you have Ubud. Right now I'm in Ubud, Ubud. And the biggest cultural difference between the two is that most of the entrepreneurs, most of the digital nomads will be down in Canggu because that's like by the water. You have a lot more surfers, you have a lot more working cafes, beach cafes, stuff like that. And then Ubud is more of the spiritual hub. You have a lot of yoga centers, yogis, healers, Reiki practitioners, all of that stuff. So I think the communities that can stem from both are quite different. And to be honest, I think when I was younger, like in my 20s, I think I was leaning more to Canggu. This was before it blew up and before it got as crowded as it is. But Canggu was more my scene because of the entrepreneurial spirit. But now what's happening is that there's a little hub west of Canggu that's becoming like the next kind of like digital nomad hub, and it's called Pererenan. Pererenan is like I think it's like a hipster neighborhood, and it feels like what Canggu felt like 10 years ago. So if you can, avoid Canggu and go more towards Pererenan. And then when it comes to Ubud, Ubud is also, can be quite crowded. So I recommend staying somewhere closer to the Gianyar region, which is the greater region of Ubud, but it's like Gianyar is also kind of like a neighborhood of itself. So it's just outside of the hubs. So again, Canggu, Pererenan, that's kind of like southwest or central west. South is Uluwatu, and Uluwatu is more quiet. This is for the people that don't really care for social scenes. I mean, there's a social scene there, but it's not as big. You'll realize that it's more of like people that want to be by the water, maybe couples, people that want privacy. You go south to Uluwatu. And then yeah, Ubud and Gianyar. I won't touch the west and the north yet because I think for people that are wanting accessibility and certain amenities, those are like the five areas that you'll want to remain in. Mm, okay. So, an average cost of living, let's be realistic here. Let's say you are not just low maintenance, but how do I how do I want to calculate this? Um, let's see. What I'm trying to remember is like what I was living off of when I was here in my 20s. Um, I think I'm trying to be like a conservative guesstimation of like if you're like really on a budget, how much do you actually need for accommodation, food, and even activities, massages, like to actually enjoy yourself? Um, Hmm. Okay, let's say this. If you if your budget was 1,000 a month, 1,000 US dollars a month, you would be able to have a private room. It would probably be a guest house or a homestay, maybe on someone's compound, or there are hostels here. You can even get on Airbnb, there's like $30 a night, $10 a night. Again, these are like all you need is a room, a bed, a shower. You can definitely, for $1,000, have accommodation, private accommodation, be able to eat food. You'd probably be spending around $5 a day. This is only if you're eating local food, like every day, nasi goreng, nasi campur, soto ayam, like just the everyday staples of Indonesia or of Bali. Yeah, so 1,000 is on the low end. So if you have 1,000 US dollars, I would say you would be okay. You cannot be super bougie. You can't be super picky, but you would be able to manage. Um, yeah, you'd be able to manage. Like, if you are living in the US and your rent and groceries are over 1,000, you have been scammed. Just kidding. Yeah, I was talking to a friend. I was like, I don't know how I could ever go back to paying US prices because the US, the quality of life in the US isn't even as good as this. Ain't that crazy? We are paying more to live less, to live worse and to have our food poisoned. You will come here and you will lose weight and you will get healthier by nature of the quality of food and the walking. Well, some places aren't as walkable because sidewalks have, have some work to do, some maintenance work. But yeah, you're just moving your body more. Okay, so 1,000 is on the low end. And then I would say on the high end, 5,000, like it would you would have to really be balling to be spending that much. Now, of course, you can always spend more than that. Um, like I said, this villa, if you wanted to stay at a villa like this for 30 days straight, you'd be looking at about 3K. And this is a one bedroom. It's like an extended, I don't know what to call it, but on Instagram, I'll post on my page a tour of this place, but it's gorgeous. Actually, I'll go ahead and post it as well as a YouTube short so that you could see it if you're on YouTube. But yeah, a place like this, 3K, it's like you have your own kitchen. Well, obviously, yeah, you have a kitchen, you have a pool, you have a gorgeous view of rice fields. It's very quiet. It's tucked away. You have a cafe down the street that deliver for free. Um, yeah, you have just an incredible staff. You have everything you could need. But mind you, this is not an anomaly. This is everywhere. This is you can access a place like this anywhere in Bali. And that's why I'm like, you got to give yourself the opportunity to experience it before you knock it. Because yes, it'll be unfamiliar. Yes, it'll be different. Yes, some of the bugs, you might be like, what is that? It's mostly geckos and mosquitoes. Like, no, I wouldn't even say mosquito. I haven't been bit by a mosquito in a minute. I would say it's geckos and yeah, flies, which, you just keep the doors closed. But yeah, like you're good. I think I had worse bugs in the US. Like growing up in California, daddy long legs. Oh, that would have me. I was distraught for days if we found a daddy long legs in our house in California. I wouldn't sleep because those were the creepiest. We even found a couple black widows. Listen, I was traumatized with the spiders in California. So yeah, it ain't never been that bad. Okay. Um, and then overall, like there's lots of community events. There's different communities that you can tap into. Even if you're single, the dating scene here, like when I was in my 20s and I was dating here, you could, if you wanted to, you could date a Jamaican on Monday, a German on Tuesday, a South African on Thursday, and uh I don't know, a Moroccan or Egyptian on Friday. Like that's how every type of culture, ethnicity, religion, like someone is here from there. So, and this is not even about like hookup culture. I mean, there are people that can engage in that, but about getting to know yourself through the lens of other people. Because something that I realized, because I was not dating. I was not in relationship. Like I was single for most of my 20s. So I didn't even know how to be a girlfriend, but also didn't know what I liked and what I wanted. And we think that you go into a relationship just clear. You are green-eyed. You don't even know what you want. And so what's nice about just casually dating people, going to coffee, having walks and experiences with them is you get to understand, huh, this culture, the way they say things, do I like that? Or, huh, I notice, a nuance here, but is that normal? And you get to like really ask yourself, does this feel good for me? Or what actually feels really safe about this? Or interesting, this is so different than American guys. I like this better. You can allow yourself to have those experiences. So, Bali in many ways feels like an adult playground. It's like as if all the adults left the island and you have a bunch of kids who are staying up late and throwing a party. Sometimes the island can feel like that. So you have to be mindful to have your discipline, have your habits, um, keep yourself in line. Like don't get too carried away. Um, yeah, like there's a scene for a little bit of everything, so you want to make sure you're not getting caught up in every scene. Not everything is healthy, not everything needs to be participated in. And in Bali, I normally keep to myself. I have pockets of friends that are here, whether they've moved or they've invested or they're just, around, which is nice. So I get to I get to come here, I get to see my people, I get to spend time with myself. If I'm with Stefan, we're together, we're doing ATV rides, we're having fun, we're having our adventures. So yeah, it's a really cool place. And if you want to have a massage in your villa, I mean, and this is not to, because I'm mindful that the word cheap it's very demeaning. It's actually kind of, disrespectful because cheap to you is not cheap to locals or cheap to everyone else. So when we talk about affordability, I don't know what it would cost you in your home city, if you're in the US, to get a massage therapist to do a home treatment for you. When I was paying for that back in the US, it was about $300. And because I tipped well, but it was about 300. And so I was doing it maybe twice a month. But just because I have it doesn't mean I like to spend it. But I was getting, because that was self-care for me. So I was about two home treatments a month. I even invested in my own massage table. So it was easier to just, not have her have to carry her own. And here, I mean, with a generous tip, it's like 15. And this is me generously tipping like 50% tip. So 15 US dollars compared to 300 US dollars. It's really hard to go back to anything else. And so I have a few ladies that I have their numbers. So depending on the area that I am, I can contact and just like, coordinate nightly massages or at minimum 3 a week. And just to like have that before you go to bed and just fully put your body at rest, at ease, or just you're tired and you just in Bali, you get to do things for yourself that you would never feel like it was attainable or necessary elsewhere or otherwise. Sometimes the self and care, sometimes the self care feels indulgent. I have to be like, should I, did I get 4 massages a day? Did I get 4 massages today? And was that really necessary? Yes, it was. And I have to talk myself down off the ledge. I'm like, Glo, you don't need a fifth massage. Go home. Go, go do some work. But Bali will mother you to health. Bali will mother you to peace. Bali will mother you to safety. And Bali is the reason I it's the reason I keep coming back. I love the version of me that exists here. For Black women specifically, this island is ready to hug you, to rock you to bed, to nurture you, to take off your superwoman cape and just let you exist. You don't got to take care of nobody. They take care of you. And I think that's such a healthy season and chapter to experience, no matter what stage of life you're in. So that's what Bali is for me. Okay, I think I covered the basics: visa, cost of living, quality of life areas. Let me know what other questions you have about Bali in the comments, and I'll either respond or just make another video. And yeah, I'll do some more destinations that I can vouch for a minimum of a month. Like I will only talk about places that I've stayed for at least a month because being a visitor somewhere and then living there is a very different experience. So this is why in a previous video I talked about South Africa. On my visits are always amazing, but when I am living there for like 3 months at a time, I am seeing the real and the raw. And South Africa feels like the US 40 years ago. I feel in terms of like race relations, probably worse than 40 years ago. So if you can deal with that level of microaggressive behavior from white South Africans, because there is so much racial tension in South Africa, like it gets worse every time I visit. Ain't that crazy? My first visit was like 9 years ago, and my most recent visit was this year, last year, a year ago, I think. I was traumatized. My most recent visit, I was like, wow, they really hate us. Imagine this. I'm at an Airbnb and I'm staying at, a nice area because I can afford to and because I want to, and I'm prepping for my mastermind retreat. And the lady is going through her spiel, not even recognizing that I am the person that she's warning me about. And so she's like, okay, okay. Oh gosh, I'm going to butcher the accent. Bear with me. I'm going British, Australian, the Khalid's people. You gotta. Oh, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. I gotta hear someone. South Africa. South Africa. Okay, it's like the tick tuck South Africa. Oh, it's horrible. Anyway, she's telling me, don't go out past 5 p.m. because the blacks and the coloreds, like that's when they're committing the crimes. You got to stay away from them. As a black woman, she's telling me this, but she's talking so fast. I can tell that she normally gets white guests, and she's just going through her spiel. I'm amazed that she accepted my booking, y'all, telling me to my face, stay away from the black and coloreds because they're dangerous in this area. And I'm just standing there like, ma'am, I couldn't even because I knew I already clocked the societal disrespect of black people in the area and colored people. So I was just like, this is just another day. Um, yeah, so South Africa is a beast. Cape Town at the same time, and mind you, I'm speaking about Cape Town. Cape Town at the same time has probably top two, not two, most beautiful skylines in the world, which is crazy. That coast, y'all, from Camps Bay, woof, that sickening, sickening, sickening. So beautiful. But the racism, oh, canceled out. It cancels out my experience every time. And I've stayed with Black South Africans, I've stayed with colored South Africans. So I've gotten to have an experience through their lens, through their lived experiences. And they tell me stories. I'm like, I see it. Yo, yo, how do they say it? Yo, 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 yo. Okay, let me stop. Yeah, y'all. So South Africa's a beast, but I know a lot of people that live there and that have moved there or that go there, to hold events or stay there for a couple months a year. It is still incredibly beautiful. I just I can't turn my blinders off like that. Like if I'm leaving the US because I'm tired of microaggressions, I'm not going to go to another country where the microaggressions are 10 times worse. I can't ignore blatant racism and blatant disses that feel subtle to them but are massive to me. It's just really hard. Okay, that's all I got. You know the drill. You know the drill. We got the goods. Be sure to watch more of the creative Clarity for Entrepreneurs playlist videos. Go binge, go share it with a friend, go enjoy, check out my channel for other stuff, and I will see you tomorrow on another daily video. And check the link in my description for more ways to work with me. Bye.